Assalamualaikum and very good day everyone. Welcome back to our subject ECLV4123 Play and Learning in Early Childhood Education. For this week we will be looking at Unit 3, which is different types of play. Okay, so types of play. Okay, one of the important aspect of early childhood education. Okay, looking at how children play. So let's look at the person, okay, who have a study about children play, which is Milfred Barton, where she studied from 1932, whereby she observed how young children engage in play. So Barton basically discovered that play is not all about level or skill, but it's rather about the situation where children find themselves in. Okay, so from the age of 2 to 5, children will move through six different stages of play. So what interesting is that each child will develop at their own pace, so they might not all show the same types of play at the same age. So this means that when we observe children, we should notice that they are actually have their very own unique pattern of play and development. Again, remember, every child is unique in how they play and grow. Okay, so let's start with the six stages of play. So these six stages of play is very important for us to understand how children develop through play. Okay, so let's go through one by one. Okay, so the first one, we have the unoccupied play. Okay, so basically in this stage, children are not actively playing, but um, observing, okay, or moving around without a clear purpose. This stage is very important, okay, because this is where children will simply explore anything that is happening around them. Okay, and then we have solitary play. Solitary play basically alone. Okay, in this stage, children will play alone. Okay, usually they are deeply focused on their own activity, and usually they are not concerned with what others are doing. Okay, so this type is also very important because it is set the very basis for developing independence and also creativity in young children. And then we have the onlooker play. Okay, they become the onlooker. They just look. So during this stage, usually children will watch others play, but they do not participate. Okay, it is also a very valuable learning experience. Okay, because children will observe. Okay, and perhaps they will learn new way to play. Remember, children see, children do. And then we have parallel play. Parallel, okay, whereby children will play side by side with similar toys, but they still do not interact directly with each other. Okay, so in this stage, it's all about learning to be around with others without direct interaction. And then we have the associative play. Okay, so in associative play stage, children will begin to interact with each other by sharing their materials. Okay, however, there's still no organized goal or rules, no specific goals or rules. Okay, it is a step forward, okay, a step towards more social play, focusing on sharings and cooperation. And then finally, we have the cooperative play. They start to cooperate. Okay, so here children will play in a group with a shared purpose, a shared goal or team. So this stage will support teamwork and communication skill as children work together to achieve a common objective. Okay, so these stages show us how play will evolve from individual exploration to group activities with a shared goal. So understanding these stages can help us to support children growth at each step individually. Okay. All right. So again, um, in on unoccupied play, okay, usually can be seen from birth until the age of 3 years old. As I mentioned just now, children will play without a specific purpose. So often you'll see babies or infant, okay, are the one in this stage. They will explore the surrounding, okay, without any specific purpose, okay. And also for us to remember that no special toys or are needed during this stage. Usually children will use their senses to explore their environment freely, okay. So the natural exploration, it's the aspect that is very important for their development, okay. And then during solitary play usually happen or develop at the age of 2 to 3 years old, okay. As I mentioned just now, usually at this stage children will play alone, and they are very focused. They are not aware or interested whatever the other people are doing around them, okay. Again, okay, this stage are very important, although they may look playing alone, but this is the very basis where they start to develop their independence and imagination, as well as their creativity lah, okay. In this solitary play, also it can be divided into two types: the active and also imaginative. So active is rather simple. Okay, it's basically a repeated movement. Okay, for example, scooping sand into the bucket repeatedly. Or the other one is solitary imaginative play, whereby children will use their own imagination to create a story or engage in pretend play lah. Okay, again, why this stage is very important? Because this stage allow the children to explore their creativity and independence without any external influences. So how about the onlookers? Usually it develop at the age of 2 to 2.5 years old. Okay, so children see, children do. Basically, they will learn about play by watching others. Okay, they might stand or they might sit close by. Okay, to observe how the other children are playing. Okay, so basically, this stage will help them to understand how game work, how rules work. Okay, how people talk and work with each other when they are playing. Okay, so although they not directly engaging with the other children, but in this stage it can also boost their communication skill, because children might make comments or ask question, what are they seeing, okay, which actually help them to learn how to talk and also interact with others, okay. And then about the onlookers as well. Okay, as I mentioned just now, they may just stand or sit nearby the children, okay, to observe. All right. Okay, and then moving on to parallel play. This also can be seen starting from the age of 2 until 3 years old lah. So parallel, as I mentioned just now, okay, kids will sit or play side by side, although not directly with each other. Okay, they can use similar toys, okay, at the same area, but not directly play with each other lah. Okay. This parallel play, okay, also very good for a starter for socialization lah, to socialize, because children will get used of being around with others, okay, which has become the preparation for them for a more interactive or associative play later on lah. Okay, so in order for us to encourage this parallel play, okay, might probably we can provide them with similar toys and let the children play independently. It is also good to let them to sit close with each other, so that they can actually feel comfortable and see what the other friends are doing, okay. And then moving on to associative play, okay, usually as I mentioned again just now, okay, children will start to interact with each other during at this stage lah, and we can see this for children at the age of 3 years and above. Okay. All right. So in this stage, usually we will focus on three math skills lah, okay, that they can develop in this stage, which is communication, cooperation, and also reasoning. Okay, usually in this stage also they'll start to ask question like how, why, and also what. So this means that okay, they are showing their curiosity and also the growing of their social awareness. Okay, now we have to remember in this stage that while they are interacting, okay, they are not fully cooperating yet. So most of the time there are no common goal, there are no structured play. Okay, however, this interaction is still very very important for their development. Okay, so these are some of the example. All right. And then moving on to cooperative play, okay, these are also a very exciting stage, okay, because this is where children will truly start to play with their friend, okay, with a shared goal. Okay, they will have a shared same goal or purpose. So usually this will happen around the age of 5 and older, at preschool age lah. So at this stage, they will work together in a group. Okay, probably they will take on different roles, or probably also they will follow different rules, okay, in order for them to achieve a common purpose. Okay, these are also very important because in this stage children will learn how to communicate and solve problem as a team. Okay, so they might become a leaders, or they might become a helper in their group, and yes, sometimes they will argue, okay, over sharing, over opinion, or maybe over taking turns or something. Okay, but these conflicts are still important for their learning opportunities. Okay, so through this conflict, through the children will grow their social skill, they learn to manage their emotion and also improve their language abilities. Okay, so in this stage children are not just playing. Okay, they are also learning how to work together, which is a very important skill that they will use for the rest of their life. Okay, all right. So, in cooperative play, okay, some of the skill that they can develop is sharing, okay, share their toys or materials, okay. So, might probably at first they need a little help from the adult in order for them to understand the concept lah, okay. But as time goes on, they will soon understand about the concept, then they finally will be able to cooperate in their play. Okay, and also another key sharing is taking turns lah. Okay, taking turns, it means that they will learn to wait and let others to have the chance first lah. Okay, also an important part of playing fairly and also building patience. So both of these skills, sharing and also taking turns, are very very important, as they can help children to communicate better, understand others, and also develop a sense of fairness in their interaction. Okay, and also obeying rules. Okay, so cooperative play also includes obeying rules. Okay, obeying rules simply means that kids will follow the rules and also play the game well lah. Okay, obeying rules also means that it helps the children to learn about honesty and being a good example, being a good teammates. Okay, and finally we have the negotiating. Okay, so negotiating skills, okay, can help children to solve conflict and learn compromise. Okay, it also teaches them to express their needs, which builds empathy and also emotional control. So all of these skill, can obeying rules, negotiating, are key part of cooperative play, which can help to shape children into better communicators and team player. Okay, on top of that we have other types of play, okay, which is we're going to look at it one by one briefly. So we have the fantasy play. So fantasy play, also known as imaginative or make believe play lah. Okay, a wonderful part of children development. So in this type of play, what children would do, of course, they will use their imagination to act out story, roles, and scenario. So this stage usually start at the age of 2, and it can grow into more complex role by the age of 3 to 5 lah. So let's continue to look at the benefit of this fantasy play. Alright, so we know that fantasy play it's some types of open-ended. So means that there are no specific roles. Okay, where it can encourage children to think of new ideas, create stories, or solve problem. Okay. So secondly, emotional skill. So fantasy play, it can allow children to explore and express their emotion in a safe environment. So for example, okay, they might pretend to calm a crying baby doll. So at the same time, basically it helps them to learn about emotion and how to manage them. Okay, so by engaging in this fantasy play, children not only have fun but also learn valuable skill that help with their overall development. And then we have a social skill also develop in this fantasy play lah. Okay, so when children play pretend games together with their friends, they learn how to share ideas and also manage their roles. Okay, so not only that, they also learn how to solve problem when they disagree with their peers. Okay, so this help them to understand how others feel and also think. And also in fantasy play, there are also executive functioning. Okay, whereby fantasy play can help children to improve their memory and also ability to plan. And then finally, about the language and communication skill, it also can get improve. Okay, their language and communication skill also can get a big boost when a kid tell a story during their play. They basically learn new words and how to build. They learn how to build sentences. Okay, and then we have physical play, as we all know. Okay, physical play will involve a movement, exploration. Okay, it will include activity like crawling, walking, also throwing things. Perhaps children will use both big and small muscle. Okay, their fine and gross motor skill lah. So why does physical play very important? Okay, basically because children will practice use both their fine and motor skill, which can help them to become strong and learn how to control their bodies. Okay, plus physical play also very great for social and emotional growth because when kids play together, they basically learn to engage with each other, build confidence, and also discover new skills. All right. All right, now let's look at example of physical play by age. So for infant, basically it involve activity like crawling, pulling, or standing. They're just busy exploring their environment. For preschoolers, okay, usually they enjoy something that is related to gross motor skill like throwing, catching, climbing, balancing. Okay, which can be extended to pretend a movement play also. For example, they imagining themselves doing some physical activity like climbing and so on. All right. And for school age children, usually they will engage in team sports and organized activity lah. Okay, to a more complex physical challenge. So now, why is it so important for us to encourage more physical play? Okay, basically, uh, how can we encourage for more physical play? Basically, we provide with more opportunity lah. We can provide time and space for them to have this physical play. Okay, so that they be able to move freely, be it indoor or outdoor lah. Okay, on top of that, offer a variety of equipment as well for them to play. Okay, don't forget, okay, although we live in technology era, we need to limit the screen time and also encourage active breaks lah, rather than just a passive one. Okay, to keep them moving. Yeah. And now we have a dramatic play. Okay, this is when kids will step into different roles. Okay, and they will act out a real life or imaginative scenario. So during this play, they will use language, movement, and props to bring out their story to life. Okay. All right, so in dramatic play, we have role play. Okay, so basically they will pretend lah to be some character. Okay, so they will choose the roles that they seen in everyday life. Okay, or even from a story that they have heard. Okay, so what happened next? Usually they will use props. Okay, either real or improvised props lah. Okay, and usually in this dramatic play also, it often follows the storyline lah. So this storyline usually created by the children themselves. So dramatic play, it's not merely about fun, but it can also be a powerful way for children to learn about themselves and others. Okay. All right. Now, moving on to symbolic play. Okay, so symbolic play is also an important step in understanding how children think and learn. Okay, so when they start to use object or action or ideas to stand for something else, to symbolize something else. Okay, so in this type of play, it can show that children are beginning to think in abstract way. They start to be able to think in abstract way. So, for instance, okay, they might use a block or a banana as their font, or probably use a stick as their sword. Okay, so this is the early imaginative thinking, and it often overlaps with pretend play. Okay, so in this symbolic play, it allows children to transform their ideas into action. Okay. All right, these are some example of a symbolic play. So we go to what are the beneficial of symbolic play. Okay, so since children are able to do abstract thinking, so it helps to build their cognitive flexibility. Okay, so this cognitive flexibility allows children to think in different way. Okay, whereby it will strengthen their symbolic thinking, which is very, very important for literacy and numeracy. Okay, on top of that, symbolic play also enhance the creativity and imagination, which help children to understand representation, like how letters, numbers, and maps are symbolized. Okay, real world concept. Okay, and then we have a social play. Okay, so social play is basically about kids playing together. It means that they will share toys, ideas, and experiences. Okay, so in social play, usually it will involve two or more children because it socialize lah. They need to talk, work together. Sometimes they will also make up rules or goals together lah. Okay, so again, a social play is not only about fun lah, it also helps with children communication and cooperation. All right, so on top of communication and cooperation, okay, it also can help with children's social and emotional skills. Okay, so through play, children learn how to express their feeling and understand the emotional of other. Okay, on top of that, teamwork, cooperation, and also taking turns are very, very important in social play. So in this social play, they will learn how to work together towards the same goals. Okay, whether they were building something or playing games. Okay, so this skill is very, very important for their future interaction skills in school and also in their later life. Okay. And then finally, we have the constructive play. Construct. So a few characteristic of constructive play is include children, okay, will be focused in producing an end product. Okay, so usually children will have plan. Okay, they will experiment and find solution as they work on their construction lah. So it will require a hands-on material and can be done either alone or in group. Okay. All right. So, what are the benefit of constructive play? Okay. So, the first one, it can help to enhance children fine and gross motor skill lah. Okay, fine motor and hand-eye coordination, which is also very important for the overall physical development. Okay, on top of that, it also can strengthen their cognitive ability. Okay, because construction will involve planning, sequencing, okay, which help the children to understand the concept of cause and effect. Okay, and also it can foster for children creativity and innovation, whereby it allows children to think outside of the box and explore new idea without any boundaries. And then finally, it can encourage for special awareness and introduce early engineering concept. Okay, remember STEM? So when children construct road or buildings, they begin to understand how things are fit together. Okay, which will lay the groundwork for engineering skills. Okay, so that will be all for our topic, and I'll be seeing you all on our next unit. So thank you for listening, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Bye bye.